Landlords, are your tenancy agreements compliant with Section 47 and Section 48 of the Landlord and Tenant Act 1985? Section 47 and Section 48 of the Landlord and Tenant Act is all about the landlord's address. Let's start with Section 47 of the Landlord and Tenant Act. Section 47 of the Act states that a landlord's address must be present on all documents that are in fact a demand for payment. So, most commonly, this would be your tenancy agreement. Is your address present on your tenancy agreement currently? If not, you may be falling foul to this piece of legislation, and therefore legally your tenants are not liable or responsible to pay the rent. The legislation clearly states that if you're using an agent, this should not be your agent's address. It should in fact be the landlord's address wherever they are resident within the world. As previously stated, as the tenancy agreement is a demand for payment, if your address is not present, then the tenant could choose to not pay the rent, at least until the point that you have provided your residential address to the tenant upon their request. I understand many landlords don't wish for tenants to have their home address. Unfortunately, in the private rented sector, this is a given right that the tenants have. The tenants have the right to identify the person whom they are renting from. If the tenant makes a formal demand in writing to you as the landlord or your agent, each party has a responsibility to respond to that request within 21 days. Failure to supply the information, as already stated, could result in the tenant refusing to pay rent until the information requested has been provided. If you're finding this information informative, please do consider giving the video a like and subscribing to our channel for more information surrounding compliance. Be sure to stay with us until the end of this video, where I'll be sharing some information about further free training for landlords. Section 48 again is all about the landlord's address, but this time Section 48 is in relation to an address being given to a tenant in England or Wales for the sole purpose of serving notices. This address can be that of your agent and/or your place of business address if you prefer. If you are a company landlord, then the address to provide to tenants would be the registered address of the business. Whilst this legislation doesn't come with penalties or fines, the ultimate penalty could be that your tenant chooses not to pay the rent, and in the eyes of the law, the rent would not be deemed lawfully due until the residential address of the landlord was provided. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end. I do hope that you found it useful. As mentioned previously, I do host a quarterly webinar where we drill down into the detail of a variety of the 170 pieces of legislation that are applicable to our industry and you as landlords. Please do reserve your seat by clicking on the link in the description below, and I hope to see you there at the next one. If you would like to learn more right now about other elements of compliance and legislation within our sector, click here where you can watch our suite of compliance and legislation videos.